Let me ask you something real. When you hear the phrase, your first $100,000, what's the first thing you feel? Excitement? Pressure? Or does your brain quietly say, yeah, that's not for people like me? Because that reaction has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with how the human brain works. For a lot of Americans, $100,000 doesn't feel like a goal. It feels like a line you're either born on the right side of, or you're not. It feels like something for other people. People who started early. People who knew what they were doing. People who didn't make mistakes. And the crazy part is, $100,000 isn't even what it used to be. It's not luxury. It's not never work again money. It's barely security. But emotionally, it feels huge. That's because your brain doesn't think in long timelines. It thinks in bills, in deadlines, in next month's rent. So when someone tells you, just invest consistently for 10 years, your brain doesn't hear a strategy. It hears sacrifice. It hears restriction. It hears 10 years of saying no. And in a world built around instant comfort, that sounds unbearable. That's why most people don't fail later. They quit mentally at the very beginning. Before the math matters, before the investments matter, they quit the idea. Once people get past the idea of $100,000, they usually get stuck on the wrong question. They ask, what should I invest in? Stocks or real estate? Index funds or individual picks? This app or that strategy? And look, those things matter, eventually. But early on, they're not the main character in this story. Here's the part that messes with people. In the beginning, your progress has way less to do with returns and way more to do with how much money you're actually putting in. That's not exciting. There's no headline for that. No one makes YouTube thumbnails about consistency. But it's true. If you're investing a small amount, even great returns barely move the needle. You can be right and still feel like nothing is happening. That's why people obsess over optimization. They're trying to fix a motivation problem with a math solution. Because it feels better to believe you're one smart decision away from a breakthrough than to accept that progress comes from repetition. Month after month, year after year, your brain wants leverage. It wants shortcuts. It wants to feel clever. But early investing doesn't reward clever. It rewards showing up. And that disconnect is frustrating. You're doing the right thing, but the results don't match the effort yet. So doubt creeps in, quietly. And once that doubt shows up, your brain starts looking for reasons to stop. At some point, reality kicks in. You look at your income, you look at your expenses, and you realize there's no magic number hiding in there. No extra money waiting to be found. No secret budget trick that suddenly changes everything. And this is where things get uncomfortable. Because reaching your first $100,000 usually isn't about making more money right away. It's about deciding that some of the money you already make doesn't belong to your present self. That's a hard idea. Your brain sees every dollar as usable, spendable, available, food, comfort, convenience, small upgrades that make life feel easier right now. So when you choose to invest consistently, it feels like loss, even if nothing is actually being taken from you. You're not saving. You're giving up choices, fewer options today, in exchange for more options later. And the brain really hates that trade, because the future version of you feels abstract, almost fictional. But the current version? Very real, very loud. That's why willpower alone never works. If it did, everyone would already be rich. What works is redefining the money before you touch it. Deciding ahead of time that a piece of your income is not spending money. Not because you're disciplined, but because you've removed the decision. And once that shift happens, something subtle changes. Investing stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like structure. This is usually the moment people start asking the wrong kind of questions. How fast can I get there? What's the minimum time? What's the quickest path? Because once you accept that consistency matters, impatience kicks in, and impatience is sneaky. You start doing mental math. If I invest this much, at this return, I should be there by this age. 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. And suddenly, time feels heavy. 6 years sounds long when you're staring at your account today, and it barely moved since last month. But here's the thing. Time isn't the enemy. Expectation is. Those years are going to pass, no matter what. You don't get to pause them. You don't get to skip them. The only real choice is what you build while they pass. Because not investing doesn't save time. It just guarantees you arrive later, with nothing. And that's the part people don't emotionally register yet. They see 6 years as a cost, instead of seeing 6 years without investing as the real loss. So, they rush. They look for acceleration. They try to compress time. And that's when patience starts breaking down, quietly. This is where the paycheck illusion really shows up. Your money hits your account, and instantly, your brain starts assigning it a job. This part goes to bills, this part goes to comfort, this part goes to small rewards for surviving the week. And whatever's left, that's what people think they can invest. The problem is, there's almost never anything left. Not because you're irresponsible, but because modern life is really good at absorbing money. There's always something new, something slightly better, something that makes today feel easier than yesterday. And your brain is wired to choose ease, every time. So when investing depends on leftovers, it feels optional, negotiable, easy to skip this month, and promise yourself you'll do it next month. That's how investing becomes fragile. It only works when life is calm, when nothing breaks, when nothing unexpected shows up. But life doesn't work like that. That's why the people who actually reach their first $100,000 don't rely on motivation or timing. They treat investing like a fixed cost, like rent, like electricity. The money never feels like it was available to spend in the first place. And once that illusion is broken, your behavior starts changing before your balance ever does. Around this point, something else usually starts to happen. People begin setting goals that sound good, but feel terrible to live with. I'll hit $100,000 in 3 years. I'll double my income fast. I'll just grind harder. On paper, it looks motivating. In real life, it's exhausting. Because goals like that don't leave any room for being human. They assume nothing will go wrong. No emergencies, no burnout, no moments where life just gets heavier. So when reality shows up, the goal doesn't bend, it breaks. And when a goal breaks, it doesn't just disappear, it turns into guilt. People don't say, "That goal was unrealistic." They say, "I failed." That's a big psychological hit. It makes investing feel like a personal flaw, instead of a long process. That's why the goals that actually work are the ones that feel almost boring. They don't impress anyone. They don't sound bold. They're just sustainable. Something you can keep doing even when motivation drops, even when progress feels slow, even when life gets messy. And that difference changes how long you stay in the game. This is the phase almost nobody talks about, the part where you're doing everything right, and it still feels like nothing is happening. You're investing every month. You're being consistent. You're not making reckless decisions. And yet, your balance barely moves. Not enough to feel proud, not enough to feel motivated, just enough to make you question yourself. This is where the snowball is supposed to start, but it's still too small to notice. Your brain is waiting for feedback, for proof, for some signal that all this patience is paying off. And when it doesn't get that signal, it starts getting restless. It whispers things like, "This is too slow. Other people are making money faster. There has to be a better way." That's not logic talking. That's discomfort. Because humans are bad at trusting invisible progress. We're wired to respond to movement we can see, not momentum that's building quietly in the background. So this stage feels empty, unrewarding, almost pointless. But it's also the stage where the foundation is being built, even if you can't feel it yet. And then, finally, something weird happens. Your balance starts moving faster. Not because you changed anything, not because the market did something magical. It moves because you've been consistent for long enough. Because the tiny snowball you didn't notice finally started rolling. And suddenly, the effort that felt invisible becomes visible. Your brain finally gets the reward it's been craving. The proof that showing up month after month actually works. And it's addictive. Not in a flashy, "I need dopamine now" way, but in a quiet, "this actually makes sense" way. That's the moment the first $100,000 stops feeling like an abstract dream and starts feeling like a real, achievable number. And everything you've done until that point, all the patience, all the small decisions, all the months of invisible work, suddenly pay off. But the interesting part? Most people quit before they ever get here, not because it's impossible, but because the process is invisible at first, because their brains are wired for instant feedback, because patience is not built overnight. And that's why understanding your brain and playing the long game is way more important than chasing the next tip or the next hack.